The ending of today's race was one for the ages, an ESPN classic every single day of the week. And if there's someone in your life that you know openly slanders NASCAR, that questions the credibility of NASCAR being a sport, that questions whether or not it's even entertaining, or someone that says something along the lines of watching paint dry is more entertaining than a NASCAR race, show them the last 25, 30 laps of this race. As it was filled with drama and action, I was on the edge of my seat the entire last 25, 30 laps. So to just set the stage, Chase Briscoe is in the lead. He needs to win this race to clinch his spot for the championship 4 next Sunday. But he is on old tires. Christopher Bell, he is towards the front. He needs to pass some drivers to get close to Chase Briscoe. He also needs to win to advance to the championship 4. And there was just lots of drama. Christopher Bell moves up into second place, but with 5 laps to go, he passes Chase Briscoe. And he ultimately pulls away and locks his spot into the championship 4. But what Christopher Bell winning that race did, it made the 4th and final spot be between Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain. And there is 1 lap left in this race, and Denny Hamlin has a 2-point edge. Ross Chastain needs to pass 2 drivers, as he had the tiebreaker for the best finish in that round of 8. But there is nobody in sight, and it looks like all hope is lost for Ross Chastain, as I really wanted to see Ross Chastain in this Final 4, because true NASCAR fans knows what Ross Chastain has been through. Xfinity Series driver, he was in the Truck Series, and just 2 seasons ago, he was with Spryer Motorsports. And he was finishing these races laps down in the 30s. But this season, with Trackhouse Racing just took a tremendous leap, as just being in the round of 8 was huge for not only Ross Chastain, but Trackhouse Racing. As Trackhouse Racing, they have emerged into one of the big-time teams, but they're still a smaller team compared to Joe Gibbs Racing and Hendrick Motorsports and Penske Racing. But the final straightaway, it looks like all hope was lost. But Ross Chastain does a NASCAR Heat 5 move, the video game move. He doesn't brake at all. He just rides the wall through turns 3 and 4, as that was his Hail Mary pass to get into the championship 4. He needs to pass 2 drivers, and he not only passes 2 drivers, not 3, not 4, but 5 drivers, including Denny Hamlin, who he was racing for that 4th and final spot, and he cemented himself into the Final 4. And let me tell you, that was the biggest move, I think, in at least recent NASCAR history. I can understand arguments of it being the biggest move in the history of NASCAR. Maybe if he wins the championship next week, we'll all go back and look at that being the biggest move in NASCAR history. But this move right here, this is without a doubt a top 10 moment in sports for the year 2022. And the fact that drivers are already wanting to have NASCAR just put some rule on it saying you can't do this, why not? There's no rule against it, and you just all of a sudden now want a rule just because something happened. That's like everybody wanting to change everything just because one thing happens. But all in all, happy for Ross Chastain. And this was just the latest to add in to an action-packed NASCAR season. As the 2022 NASCAR season, this has been the season I feel like has been filled with more drama than maybe the last 10, 15 NASCAR seasons put together. And there's been a lot of parody, a lot of chaos. We have Trackhouse Racing with a 1-4 shot to win the championship, as Ross Chastain has been a focal point of controversy this season with his run-ins with Denny Hamlin, and I just think it's very fitting that the last spot for the championship for next Sunday came down to Ross Chastain and Denny Hamlin, as they were two drivers that have battled each other all season long. They've been having conflicts with each other, and I just found that poetic justice. You just couldn't script this any better. And you know what? I am rooting for Ross Chastain to win next week, as the Final Four is down to Joey Logano, Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott, and Ross Chastain. But I will say this. Whoever happens to hoist the championship trophy next Sunday afternoon in Phoenix, they will be known in my mind as the driver to win the championship in the most chaotic and most dramatic NASCAR season in a long time, if not ever. As there's a lot of questions coming into this season with the new car and what it was going to do, and it created a lot of parity. I mean, who would have expected at the beginning of the year the Final Four would be Bell, Chastain, Logano, and Elliott? I mean, Chase Elliott was a popular pick for the Final Four in the beginning of the year, as Logano was a pretty popular pick as well. But Bell and Chastain, just sports has been insane this year. And I just can't wait to see how it ends next Sunday, at least for NASCAR.